In the gallery of iconic film villains, there's one man who doesn't need to raise his voice, wave a weapon, or even show a hint of anger to freeze your blood. Colonel Hans Landa from Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards is a study in calm, articulate, sociopathic evil. He walks into a scene with the grace of a diplomat, the elegance of a scholar, and the precision of a machine. He speaks several languages, smiles politely, and yet commands complete psychological control over everyone in the room. He is terrifying, not in spite of his manners, but because of them. What makes Hans Landa unforgettable isn't just what he does, it's the way he does it. So, let's dissect the anatomy of his terror and understand why that terror is exactly why we love him. Most villains lean into one of two archetypes: the brute or the mastermind. Hans Landa is something else. He isn't a tyrant shouting orders from behind enemy lines, nor a faceless bureaucrat pushing papers in a back office. He is the face of tyranny, and he wears it with unsettling joy. In a genre that often caricatures Nazis as either deranged or robotic, Landa is a terrifying middle ground. He's human, he's likable, and that's what makes him dangerous. Christoph Waltz's Oscar-winning performance brought to life a character who, by all rights, should be hated, and yet we're glued to the screen every time he opens his mouth. It's not just charisma. It's a perfect storm of intellect, elegance, unpredictability, and menace. He's not a villain you survive by fighting. He's a villain you hope to survive by outlasting, which, as the film shows us repeatedly, is rarely possible. Let's talk about the first time we meet him. The opening scene of Inglourious Bastards is nearly 20 minutes long. It's quiet, it's patient. It's mostly two men talking at a table in a farmhouse. Landa compliments the house, drinks a glass of milk, and switches from French to English out of supposed politeness. But the air's thick with dread. We know something is wrong, even if we don't yet know what. The brilliance of this scene lies in the slow erosion of safety. Landa's questions are friendly on the surface, but carry an undercurrent of dominance. He asks permission to smoke his pipe, yet his presence consumes the space. He compliments the farmer's daughters, yet the subtext is intrusive. His language, always polite, is a mask, and behind it is the cold precision of a predator. When it's revealed that the Dreyfus family is hiding beneath the floorboards, the dread we've felt turns to horror. But there's no sudden violence, no burst of anger, just a calm instruction for soldiers to open fire. And then, silence again. That's Hans Landa. He doesn't explode, he erupts slowly. And what makes that so terrifying is how real it feels. We've all been in rooms where someone exerts power without saying it aloud. Landa makes you feel that, every second he's on screen. He speaks German, French, English, and Italian fluently. But more than that, he understands the meaning behind words. He uses language the way a surgeon uses a scalpel. He uses politeness as a leash. He'll flatter you, then tighten it at the exact right moment. Language is not just his tool, it's his battlefield. One of the most chilling moments in the film is his dinner with Shosanna, now living under a new identity. He orders milk for her, the same drink he sipped during the murder of her family. Is it a coincidence? A test? A subtle threat? He never says, and that's the point. Landa's power lies in implication. He turns meals into interrogations, smiles into traps, compliments into psychological chess moves. And in a Tarantino film, where every line of dialogue is laced with tension, Landa is the king of the script. But he's not just eloquent, he's intelligent. Landa doesn't act because he's a true believer in the Nazi cause. He doesn't radiate ideology, he radiates opportunism. He's a man who enjoys solving puzzles, and he just happens to do that for one of the most evil regimes in history. That's what makes him different from, say, Goebbels or Hitler in the film. They're true believers. Landa, on the other hand, is a pragmatist, a narcissist, a man who will follow orders not out of loyalty, but because it serves his interests. And when the tides turn, he's the first to switch sides. He's terrifying not because he's brainwashed, but because he isn't. He's terrifying because he's aware. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he does it anyway. Not out of rage, not out of hate, but because he can. He represents a version of evil that is smooth, stylish, articulate, and devastatingly effective. When Hannah Arendt wrote about the banality of evil, she described the kind of person who enables atrocities by hiding behind bureaucracy. Landa is a twist on that concept. He's not banal. He's extraordinary. He doesn't hide in the system. He thrives in it. He's efficient, precise, professional, and completely devoid of empathy. That's more frightening than any wild-eyed madman, because it suggests that evil doesn't always announce itself with cruelty. Sometimes, it comes in a clean uniform, a well-practiced smile, and an eloquent accent. Think about the scene in the tavern, one of the most iconic moments in the film, even though Landa appears only at the very end. The entire sequence is about cultural codes, tension, and performance. The British lieutenant's fatal mistake isn't a weapon, it's a hand signal. He orders 3 drinks using the wrong gesture, a British one instead of the German thumb 3. That's all it takes. In Landa's world, language, gesture, and identity are deadly games. And when he enters the scene afterward, he doesn't need to ask questions. He just needs to observe. His silence is more terrifying than anyone else's speech. Landa is terrifying because he listens, he watches, he knows. And then there's the final twist. When Landa captures the American plan to assassinate the Nazi high command, he doesn't stop it. He negotiates, he switches sides. He demands immunity, a home in Nantucket, a medal. He sees the fall of the Third Reich coming, and he intends to land on his feet. He's not loyal to Germany. He's not loyal to Hitler. He's loyal to whoever gives him power. This betrayal isn't redemptive, it's chilling, because it confirms what we already suspected. Landa has no ideology, no beliefs, only self-interest. He's the villain who wins until the very last second. And even when he loses, it's not because he failed. It's because someone else broke the rules of the game he thought he controlled. And yet, we love watching him. Why? Because Landa is compelling. He turns every scene into a performance. He commands attention without shouting. He's smart. He's unpredictable. And he plays the role of villain so perfectly that he becomes magnetic. He's not the kind of character we root for, but he is the kind we can't take our eyes off. There's something seductive about watching someone so intelligent and articulate navigate the world with absolute confidence. He's evil, yes, but he's also entertaining. And that's the paradox Tarantino leans into. He gives us a villain we should hate, and makes us listen to him anyway. Because Landa represents a fear more primal than violence. He represents the fear of being outmatched, outsmarted, understood, and destroyed, all while being offered a cigarette and a compliment. Hans Landa is not a man. He's a mirror. He reflects the danger of charisma without conscience, the threat of intelligence without empathy, the horror of evil not as chaos, but as strategy. He doesn't need to shout. He just needs to sit across from you, smile, ask a question, and wait for you to realize he's already won. And that's why we love him. Not because we agree with him, not because we excuse him, but because he forces us to feel something deeper than shock. He forces us to confront the quiet, intelligent, smiling face of true evil. And that is a villain worth remembering.